Okay, let's dive in. Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We got quite a bit of source material laid out here today, and it's all focused on one massive event, golf's toughest major, the U.S. Open, and it's making its return to, well, a course that honestly seems to terrify even the world's best golfers.
That's right. We're digging into everything we can find about the 125th U.S. Open. It's all happening at the legendary Oakmont Country Club, June 12th to the 15th, 2025.
And our goal today, for you listening, is to pull out the really key stuff from these sources. What is it that makes Oakmont so incredibly tough? Who are the players everyone's watching, the ones hoping to conquer this beast? And maybe just as interesting, what are some of the slightly unusual and unexpected stories already coming out before a ball's even struck?
Yeah, the anticipation, you can really feel it in the material we looked at. It's definitely off the charts for this one. Our sources keep calling it golf's ultimate test, a survival test, really.
And they definitely don't hold back explaining why Oakmont has that reputation.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't just some course they picked out of a hat. It's hosting its 10th U.S. Open. That's a record, right?
A record-breaking 10th, yeah, more than any other club. And what's really fascinating that the sources point out is how the course has been treated. It was designed way back 1903 by Henry Fownes, but they've deliberately, meticulously restored it back to his original vision, a penal design, they call it.
Penal design. Okay.
Yeah, the idea wasn't to make it easier over time, but to actually bring back that punishment, that challenge.
Penal almost feels like putting it mildly. When you look at the specifics our sources dig into, we're talking par 70.
Yeah.
Okay? But it stretches out to, what, 7,372 yards? That's long. But it's the hazards, right? That's what really jumps out.
Oh, absolutely. And just the sheer number of them. It's kind of staggering. The sources highlight, get this, 175 bunkers.
175. Seriously.
175. It's hard to even picture. More than some courses have holes.
Wow. That's almost one burger for every 40 yards. Scattered everywhere, I imagine.
Yeah.
Does the source material explain how that changes things strategically?
Well, it's not just the number, it's where they are. They're positioned, to really make you think, to punish anything less than perfect. But maybe the most infamous feature, it's got to be the greens. Our sources just hammer this point home how fast they are. They mention Stimpmeter readings potentially getting close to 15.
Stimp 15. Okay, right. For anyone listening who hasn't experienced that speed, it's like trying to put on your kitchen countertop, maybe faster. The sources make it sound like if your ball isn't stopping almost dead or if it's not perfectly struck, it's just gone.
Exactly. Unforgiving is the word that keeps coming up. So you combine those lightning speeds with those bunkers we mentioned, often deep ones guarding the greens, you start to see why players talk about needing surgical precision just to keep the ball on the short grass.
And speaking of, well, iconic trouble spots, you can't talk Oakmont without mentioning the Church Pew Bunker. Our sources describe this thing. It spans holes 3 and 4. It's this huge bunker, but it has these long, narrow strips of grass running through it, like actual pews.
Yeah, visually, it's really intimidating and strategically brutal, just totally unique.
Yes, isn't it?
And another unique thing, adding to the character, the sources point out that the Pennsylvania Turnpike literally cuts through the course. Players actually have to walk across these old bridges, like from the 1920s, to get between holes. It's kind of charming in a way, but also just feels
different. It really shows how the course is just woven into the landscape there. And we can't forget the par 3s. Our sources called them brutal. The 8th hole specifically, it's listed at 300 yards.
300 yards?
For a par 3.
Yeah.
That's the longest in U.S. Open history, according to this. That's more than just a long iron for these guys. That's a serious hit just to get it there.
It demands everything. And, the sources really underline how tough this all adds up to be. They point out the stat. Historically, only about 2% of players, 2%, who've played a U.S. Open at Oakmont have ever managed to finish the tournament under par.
2%. Just let that sink in. That single statistic tells you almost everything you need to know, doesn't it? It's not just hard. It seems designed to break players. And our sources have quotes from players, coaches. They're already calling it surgical golf.
Yeah, they talk about the rough being so dense you can easily lose a ball just off the fairway. They mentioned seeing Bryson DeChambeau already, hacking away in practice. Yeah. And those bunkers aren't just numerous, they're deep, cavernous, some descriptions say. It's a course where a small miss turns into a big number fast.
And that Justin Thomas quote, after he got a feel for it, it really nails it, I think. He said, "You get lazy, and this course will make you look stupid."
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like the ultimate Oakmont warning sign right there.
It really captures the mental challenge, doesn't it, as much as the physical one. So, okay, the course itself is clearly this this monster. Who do our sources suggest might actually have a chance to, navigate it?
Well, first off, it's a huge field,
Yeah.
which reflects just how big this championship is. The sources mentioned a record number of entries. Over 10,200 people tried to qualify, which eventually gets whittled down to the 156 players who are actually teeing it up. It's a real mix. Top pros, qualifiers from all over, amateurs too. Practice rounds have already started, so they're getting their first, maybe painful taste of Oakmont right now.
And the name that comes up first, the one positioned by pretty much all our sources as the clear guy to beat, it's Scottie Scheffler. I mean, his form lately has just been dominant, right? Winning the PGA Championship, winning the Memorial just recently. The odds reflect that too, plus 280. He's known for being incredibly steady, tee to green, and just so calm under pressure. Seems built for a test like this.
Then you've got the defending champ, Bryson DeChambeau. He's trying to do something really rare, win back-to-back U.S. Opens. Brooks Koepka was the last one, back in 2018. Bryson obviously has that massive distance advantage off the tee. That's his thing. But our sources kind of hint that Oakmont, with its need for precision and strategy, maybe more than just raw power, well, it could really challenge his approach.
Yeah, it's not a course you can just bomb and gauge, typically. And then there's Rory McIlroy, another huge name, obviously. He's had a really strong spring, won the Masters, which is huge. And this is where the Oakmont factor really shows up in the sources. Even Rory got an immediate wake-up call during a practice round. Apparently, he made a triple bogey on the second hole. And the telling part, he said he hit 3 good shots to do it.
Wow. 3 good shots leads to a triple. Okay, that says it all about the margins here, doesn't it? Oakmont just doesn't care who you are. Any little mistake, even one you don't think is a mistake, gets punished hard.
It really shows how relentless it is, even for the absolute best. Our sources also flag other big names, naturally. John Rahm, Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, guys known for their ball striking, which you'd think would be absolutely critical around here.
Definitely. And you should probably keep an eye on some names the sources mention as maybe flying under the radar a bit. Shane Lowry, maybe Ben Griffin, or Sepp Straka. Sometimes on a course this tough, it's not always the biggest favorites who find a way.
Good point. And we also saw mention of Adam Scott being out there. He's preparing for his 96th consecutive major start.
96th straight. That's incredible longevity.
An amazing streak, continuing on maybe the toughest stage of all.
So beyond just the players and the terrifying course conditions, our sources also picked up on some really unique stories, almost quirky stuff happening around the event. This is where it gets kind of fun, adds a different flavor to the whole thing.
Absolutely. And probably top of that list is this really inspiring story about Matt Volt. He's a 34-year-old dentist from Indianapolis.
A dentist, okay.
Get this. He used to be a caddy at Oakmont. And he just qualified to play in the U.S. Open as an amateur.
No way. A dentist, former caddy, playing in the Open at the course he caddied at. That's fantastic.
It really is. Our sources say he's playing in honor of his late father. It's just a great human interest story that seems to have really resonated with people.
Definitely something cool to follow. What else was weird?
Well, there's this very specific, slightly odd local rule. The sources call it the green zone warning. Apparently, the 9th green shares space with a practice putting green. There's a rope or a line dividing them. And the sources point out, if a player's ball, or even the player themselves, crosses that line into the wrong zone during play, it could actually lead to disqualification.
BQ. Just for accidentally ending up on the wrong part of the green complex. Wow.
God.
That's intense. That feels like a recipe for some unexpected drama right there.
Yeah, it's a very specific local rule players absolutely need to be aware of. It's unique to Oakmont. And remember we talked about restoring the course to the original Fownes vision?
Yeah, the penal design.
Well, our sources revisited that nighttime tree removal story. Apparently, hundreds of trees were cut down, like, under the cover of darkness. All part of that effort to restore the original sightlines and, well, the difficulty. But it definitely stirred up some local controversy at the time.
Cutting down trees in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that adds a bit of, I don't know, mystique or something to the whole lead up. These little details, they really paint a richer picture of what makes an Oakmont U.S. Open feel different, don't they?
They absolutely do. They show the story isn't just about the scores. And like you said, even before the tournament proper starts, we have Rory's practice round triple. JT's very blunt quote. You already feel the course making its presence known.
Right, and seeing guys literally losing golf balls in the rough just during practice rounds. Oakmont is already biting back.
So looking ahead now, the tournament itself starts Thursday, June 12th, runs through Sunday the 15th. Practice rounds have been going all week, and the official tee times for Thursday and Friday came out on Tuesday.
And if you're planning to watch, our sources list the main spots. In the U.S., it's USA Network, NBC, and the Peacock streaming service. They'll have featured groups too, so you can follow specific players. Over in Europe, coverage is primarily on Sky Sports Golf and TalkSport Radio.
Streaming starts bright and early Thursday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Then the main national coverage on NBC picks up Saturday and Sunday afternoon from 1 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this all up. Based on everything we've pulled from these sources, what should you, the listener, really expect from this U.S. Open at Oakmont?
I think you can expect, well, probably some heartbreak. Definitely moments of brilliance, because someone will hit amazing shots. But overall, expect razor-thin margins. Expect a true survival test. Our sources are unanimous. This is likely the hardest layout in major championship golf.
Yeah, Scheffler's a favorite, no doubt about it. But the overwhelming message from everything we've read is that at Oakmont, with its history, its design, absolutely no one is safe.
It really feels like a battle against the golf course itself, maybe even more than against the other players in the field.
Which, I guess, leads us to that final thought to maybe chew on while you're watching this unfold. Given everything we know about Oakmont, the restored penal design, that unbelievable stat about only 2% finishing under par historically, does the course itself almost become the biggest player in the tournament? Is Oakmont, in a weird way, more dominant than any single golfer? Could the course be the true winner here?
That's a good question. The history books for Opens here certainly suggest the course dictates the terms more often than not.
Something to think about, definitely. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the 2025 U.S. Open at Oakmont.